This is number 8. I do not have the physical copy because it is for free online, and it's really only online unless you want to pay $300 for the print version. This is Stone Butch Blues by Leslie Feinberg. Obviously, starting off, we are dealing with a 4.8 with a margin of error of 0.1, originally published March of 1993. And this book is rough. This book is incredibly rough, even for someone who is, probably the most privileged, group in America. I'm a white, cis male. And yet, I still recognize that people are people. So, this book it's so incredibly important to learn about, well, frankly, other people, but especially other minority groups as well, and their hardships and their way of life, how much they've had to fight just to survive. And that's really what this book is about. It is about fighting to survive. Jess, the main character, it's ever since she came into consciousness, she was 4 or something, she's been fighting. And damn, is it not an incredible thing to see? To just see her continuously, just day after day, month after month, year after year, slowly grow and change as a person. And you know that this is happening with all of the other butches in the novel as well. And it's just so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking at times to see that, to see her fight and struggle, because I'm like, holy shit, how do you do it? How do you do it? I couldn't. I couldn't do that. So, and there's also this really interesting, not subplot, but it fights for unions. It fights for unions really hard, actually, which is really, really nice, because unions are really good. Unions take power and money away from the corporation and gives it back to the workers. And which is very, there's this idea of being in a union, being with everybody, and people, if you pay attention, you'll see that there's a the union is this picture, this model for what all of the minority groups should do, which is band together and obviously, take on other side and take on the people in power. And eventually, they've accomplished that, as we can see, but then this hasn't really happened, and they're slowly learning, each of the characters, and especially Jess, they're learning that they can't do this alone. They need other people to survive. Humans were not meant to be the lone wolf. They were not meant to be the Sigma. You need people in your life. You need people in your life. And if you want to get anywhere, the best way to do that is to join a union of sorts, band together, so that if you're hurt, someone can take care of you. This novel deals with very triggering stuff. Once again, that I don't really know about, but I can obviously recognize that it is just hell on earth. The fact that, any of them have to live through that is disgusting in the shortest amount of words possible by saying that. It was interesting for the entirety of the novel, for something that was so sad, so disheartening at times, the novel actually ended off quite well. And I'm glad it did, because people who read this need a sense of hope. They need a sense of hope for the future. And even though, Jess is older, and I can't fully relate because I'm only 21, but I'm just so glad that it ended off with hope. Because that is what quite literally everybody needs right now. Names are, so there's just like a little nitpick, but obviously, like you're going through this person's life and they can't remember characters' names, or like we can't remember characters' names like in years and years past, but I would have to go back and be like, oh, who was this character again, just real quick. But for the most part, I remembered like all of them. There's just like one or two that I was like, oh, what have they done? Another thing that this book handles really well is that everybody has their stereotypes. Everybody has their stereotypes. And it takes a lot for some people to recognize that. Even people who are quite accepting in this novel, like Jess, even they have their own stereotypes, even though they've broken out of this binary of sorts in society, they've created another binary within their own little niche as well. And when someone, breaks that, it's hard for the characters to wrap their heads around it. Just like how so many white men in this novel couldn't wrap their head around Jess, passing as a man, or wanting to be a man yet being a woman. So, this is a book that if you don't care for people, you need to read it. And if you do care for people, you still need to read it. It's free. There's literally no reason why you shouldn't. Is it a long book? I don't know. I got through it in like 2 sittings. It's like 600 pages, I think. It's only 300 on my iPad, but it's dual-sided, so. Out of all of the books that I've reviewed so far, if you truly care about people, and you think that people do deserve a better life, then I think you need to read it. I'm almost positive you need to read it. In fact, I'm like 110% positive that you need to read it, actually. Everybody should read this book, because it gives such a harrowing, gruesome, yet so realistic view of life for somebody that isn't yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.